The Awakening of the Chosen.
Welcome to the Awakening of the Chosen channel. My name is Gabriel. In today's video, we will dive into a deep and transformative journey. Have you ever felt that someone tried to control your destiny, manipulating your choices, your emotions, and even your dreams? What if I told you that the power to break those chains has always been within you? Today, we will explore how to reverse the emotional and spiritual bonds that may be blocking your true potential. This is the moment to take control of your life, reclaim your inner strength, and shine in your own light. Stay with me until the end, because what you'll discover here could be the key to your ultimate liberation. Shall we go together? Have you noticed that the spell your mother cast on you has turned against her? What she used to bind you has now unraveled, and the very energy she directed against you is returning to her. She thought she could shape your destiny, but the universe had other plans. The spell has been reversed, and now this burden is no longer yours, it is hers. Everything she tried to inflict on you is coming back, and she will be forced to face the consequences of her own actions. Since childhood, your mother's manipulations were more than just words. They were like invisible threads designed to control every thought and movement of yours. She didn't just offer advice, she planted seeds of guilt, shame, and fear, ensuring that you remained small and tethered to her will. Every critical look, every disdainful comment was part of the web she wove to keep you dependent. Her goal was clear: to keep you bound to her version of who you should be, never allowing you to fully shine. But those threads, once so tight, have started to unravel. The spell that once seemed unbreakable has weakened as you became more aware of its existence. Her criticisms, which once weighed you down, now reveal their true purpose: to stop you from growing. What she masked as concern was in fact fear of losing control over you. The truth hits you like a storm. The chains she placed around your spirit, disguised as love, are breaking. The more you see her manipulations for what they really are, the less power they have. You remember the times when she questioned your decisions as if they were personal failures of hers? That wasn't guidance. It was another twist of the thread meant to stifle your confidence. But now the spell has been reversed. The web she spun to bind you has turned against her. Her words, which once hurt you, now expose her own insecurities. You are no longer small. You stand taller, and she, watching from afar, begins to crumble under the very magic she created. Over time, you sense something was deeply wrong, like a silent storm within you. The feeling that your life had a greater purpose than the limitations she imposed became undeniable. You began to see the cracks in the reality she built, a reality made to keep you under her control. The spell she cast began to unravel as you reclaimed the power that had always been yours, but was hidden under layers of doubt and fear she planted in your mind. Then came the moment of truth. You were on the verge of a life-changing opportunity, something that would take you to heights she never wanted you to reach. But for the first time, you didn't run to tell her. No, this time, you kept it to yourself, shielding your dream from the storm of negativity she would surely unleash. It wasn't fear that held your tongue, it was strength. You knew that sharing your joy with her would mean watching her destroy it, piece by piece, as she had done with so many of your dreams before. That was the turning point. In that silence, you realized something profound. Her power over you was only as strong as your willingness to let her cast those doubts. For years, she made you believe that your victories were empty without her approval. But now you see clearly, her validation was just an illusion, a tool to keep you small. By protecting your dreams from her criticism, you took back the reins of your destiny. The spell that once encased you like a suffocating vine withered under the light of your awakening. Now, with every step forward, you feel the chains loosening. You no longer seek her permission to thrive. Her words, which once cut your confidence like a dagger, now fall powerless. The spell has been broken, and you are no longer in her shadow, but standing in your own radiant, untouchable light. The moment the spell reverses is the instant you decide to take back your power and live your life on your own terms. Her control over you always depended on your need for validation, the approval you sought from someone who never had your best interests at heart. But now you have cut that thread. You no longer chase her approval, nor do you need her to confirm your worth. When she finally learns of your success, her reaction is immediate, exactly as you expected. But something has changed. Her attempts to criticize you and diminish your choices fall into the void. Her words, once venomous and capable of wounding deeply, now hold no power over you. The poison she once wielded with precision has lost its effect, and then comes the realization. The moment her facade crumbles, you can see in her eyes the panic disguised as frustration. As she realizes what has happened, the power has shifted, and now she is the one struggling to maintain control. The hold she had over your decisions has slipped, and no matter how hard she tries to pull you back into her influence, it's futile. The spell has been reversed, and now she is trapped in her own web. The control she once exerted over your life is falling apart. Her health falters, her relationships begin to crumble, and her financial security, once unshakable, now wavers as if the universe itself is tired of her greed. The manipulation she used to keep you small is turning against her, and you watch, not with cruelty but with clarity, as the weight of her actions begins to crush her. Every attempt to regain control is in vain, and with every misstep it becomes clear that the life she built with so much control is slipping from her grasp. The spell has been reversed. What was once your burden is now hers, and the same energy she used to try to keep you trapped is now destroying everything she built. The moment you recognized your true worth was the moment her grip began to weaken. The power she held over you was never real. It was built on the false foundation of you seeking her validation. But the second you stopped letting her define who you are, the spell unraveled. You no longer sought her approval, nor did you carry the weight of her expectations. When you achieve a significant milestone, perhaps receiving an award, accomplishing something monumental, or simply finding a deep inner peace that radiates through every fiber of your being, she can no longer ignore the truth. You are beyond her reach. Every attempt to bind you to her control has failed, and the reality she is forced to face is that she no longer has any influence over your life. The chains she used to keep you small have been broken, and now you find yourself in a space where she cannot even follow. Her reaction is not one of celebration for your success. It is something darker, tinged with the bitterness of realizing that her power has completely disintegrated. She can no longer shape your path, and that realization destroys her. You stand firm, glowing in the light of your success, while she, watching from afar, is consumed by the shadows she herself created. In this moment, the reversal is clear. She can no longer define you, limit you, or prevent you from moving forward. Her influence is a distant memory, crumbling under the weight of your self-discovery. The power was always yours, but now it is undeniable, and she is left to deal with the consequences of her own actions. You are free, and she is left to confront a reality where her spell no longer holds sway over you. Desperation takes hold of her as she feels the control slipping from her hands. The power she once wielded over your emotions and decisions is dissolving, and the more she tries to reclaim that influence, the more the spell turns against her. The same manipulations that once kept you trapped now entangle her in her own snare. She may even resort to familiar tricks, trying to stir guilt with words designed to make you question your choices, pulling at the emotional string she knew so well. But this time, those tactics fall flat, their effects weakened by the clarity you've gained. You see through the layers now, and what once held you captive no longer has control over you. Every attempt to pull you back into old patterns is fruitless, and with every step you take forward, she is pushed further into the shadows. You recognize the game, the manipulation disguised as concern, and it only strengthens your resolve. Her effort to regain dominance only highlights the strength of your independence. Her struggle becomes a reflection of her own downfall. The more she tries to reach for you, the more she realizes she is grasping at the void with nothing to hold on to. The control she once wielded like a weapon is now her undoing, and the more she tries, the more the spell reverses on her, entangling her in her own web. The final break isn't a loud, dramatic moment. It's a quiet severing of ties, deep and transformative, redefining everything. It's the point where her manipulation no longer affects you, where the weight she held over your life evaporates, leaving only the clarity of your own strength. You have done the work, healed the wounds she caused, and now the scars are merely reminders of battles you've already won. Her power is gone, not because she let it go, but because you took it back. You are no longer shackled by guilt, fear, or obligation that once defined your relationship. This is the moment she loses forever, though she may not realize it yet. There may be one last attempt, perhaps at a family gathering or during a routine call. She tries again, grasping at the last threads of control, using the same old tactics. But this time, you don't react. The words that once carried the weight of an anchor now pass through you like dead leaves in the wind. You see through her now, expose the game of manipulation. And in this moment, her voice may rise, her tone may intensify, but it no longer reaches you. The desperation she tries to disguise as authority becomes clear, and for the first time, she is the one desperately fighting for control. The spell has broken, and with it any power she thought she had over you. You walk away, perhaps physically, perhaps emotionally, but you leave intact, unshaken. Her final attempt to influence your destiny has failed. And as you walk away, you realize the total freedom you have finally achieved. The spell your mother tried to cast on you has been broken, and with it, the influence she had over your life. No matter how many times she tries to regain control or the power she once wielded, all of it has unraveled. The attempts at manipulation, the veiled criticisms, and the emotional control that once shaped your choices no longer affect you. Now you see the truth. The power was always yours. For years, she made you believe that you needed her validation, that your dreams were only worth something if they were approved by her. But that illusion has completely dissolved. What was once a constant pursuit of approval has transformed into a deep understanding that your worth never depended on her opinion. You have walked into your own light, and as your strength grew, the hold she had on you faded. Each attempt she makes to bind you again now only entangles her in her own web. What once empowered her, her control over your life and your emotions, now consumes her. She finds herself facing a reality she never wanted to admit. She no longer has any control over you, and nothing she does or says can change that. The freedom you feel is indescribable. For the first time, you are living your life on your own terms. Your dreams, your achievements, and your decisions are no longer hostage to anyone's opinion or approval. You are guided by your own inner strength, by the deep knowledge of who you truly are and what you are capable of achieving. As your mother deals with the consequences of the spell she cast, you continue to thrive. Every step forward is a reminder of how far you've come and of how much she lost by trying to control you. What she didn't realize is that by trying to stop you from shining, she only delayed the inevitable. The moment when you would take back your power, and with it, your freedom for good. The beauty of this liberation is that it is silent but profound. It wasn't a dramatic confrontation or an explosion of anger that sealed your independence. It was the clarity and inner peace you found. The true victory was your ability to see beyond the manipulations and false truths she planted in your mind, and realize that you always had everything you needed to be free. Now looking back, you see clearly how far you've come. The chains that once held you no longer exist. The doubts and fears she planted in you are just distant echoes, incapable of affecting your life or your choices. You stand stronger, more confident, and more determined than ever. Your mother, on the other hand, is trapped in her own spell. Her attempts to control you have turned against her, and now she must deal with the consequences of her actions. Loneliness, the loss of power, and the lack of control are the marks of the price she is paying for trying to trap you in a life that was never yours. The spell has reversed, and she finds herself caught in the same web she wove for you. But you, finally free, move forward. Your future is now shaped only by you, and that freedom, that power to live according to your own rules, is something no one can ever take away from you. As you continue to move forward in your newfound freedom, the weight of the past begins to lift, and with each passing day, you feel lighter. The spell that once held you captive, the invisible strings that guided your every step, no longer have a hold on you. What you once thought was love and guidance was nothing more than manipulation, a carefully crafted web designed to keep you from realizing your true potential. But now, you see things clearly. The fog has lifted, and your path is illuminated by your own strength, your own choices. Your mother, still trapped in the web she created, continues to struggle. Her attempts to regain control grow more desperate, but they no longer affect you. You watch from a distance, not with malice, but with a quiet understanding. You realize now that her actions were driven by her own fears and insecurities, her own need for control, but that doesn't excuse the damage she caused. However, you are no longer a victim of that damage. You have healed, grown, and moved beyond it. As you forge ahead on your own path, you begin to attract new opportunities, new people, and new experiences that reflect the person you've become. Your confidence grows with every success, and the world begins to recognize the brilliance that was always within you, but was hidden for so long. You no longer seek validation from others, especially not from your mother. You've learned to trust yourself, to listen to your own voice, and to follow your own instincts. And that, more than anything, is the true essence of your freedom. In time, you may choose to forgive your mother, not for her sake, but for your own peace. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting or excusing her actions, but rather releasing the hold that those actions once had on you. It means acknowledging the pain she caused, but refusing to let that pain define you or control your future. You have already taken back your power, and forgiveness is simply the final step in reclaiming your peace. Your mother's life continues to unravel, as the energy she once used to control you now works against her. Her health may deteriorate, her relationships may suffer, and the stability she once relied on may crumble. But these are not your burdens to bear. You have your own life to live, and you have learned that you are responsible only for your own happiness and success. You cannot save her from the consequences of her own actions, just as she could not prevent you from eventually breaking free. As the years pass, you will look back on this time with a sense of pride and accomplishment. You will recognize that the struggles you endured were not in vain, but rather a necessary part of your growth. The chains that once held you back have become the stepping stones to your freedom, and the power that your mother once wielded over you has been transformed into the power you now hold over your own destiny. You are free, you are strong, and nothing, not even the remnants of the spell your mother cast, can hold you back any longer.